The purpose of this video is just to give you a good idea of the different preamps and some of the products that Chandler makes, to lay out the drums so you can hear a whole kit with each different type of preamp and hear the different sounds between each one. We're trying to go with as little EQ and compression as possible for starters, and we'll probably come in with a fully done up kit at the end with a variety of our pre's on there.
So you sent me the prototypes of the Devil mic pre's, and they were pretty exciting. I tested them against some other preamps, and they sound awesome. So I'm really stoked about them. So what is inside? And we got all these really cool controls in this one, sort of like the Germanium.
Sure.
But how did this come up? I mean, the 500 series is sort of taken off. So.
Well, with the 500 series, I started with the EQ and the compressor. Which I kind of started making because of the console behind us didn't have any modules in it, and I wanted something that worked along those lines to fit in there. So I started with those because I wanted them for the console, and they were just really appropriate for 500 series. So that just kind of happened, and then you come out with an EQ and a compressor, and everyone starts saying, "Well, where's the pre? What's going on?" So for a long time, several years since those come out, it's been rolling around in my head. Okay, I want to do something, but I want to do it cool. I want to do something special. So I wanted to take the things that the Germ does and either take them further or in a new direction with the changes in the feedback, make it more accentuated. I was experimenting with a lot of distortion and clipping because I was also working on the guitar pedals we're doing now at the same time. And so some of that kind of leaked in there as far as trying to take the sound variations further. And what I ended up deciding after building like 5 or 6 completely different versions was a feedback and a bias control combined into one. So it does the changes in sound like the Germanium does, where it affects the highs and the lows and it gets a little more gritty. But then you change the bias of the gain stage, the Class A gain stage, at the same time, and it adds another layer to it. And I think you probably were hearing some of it yesterday as we were getting drums going. I was pleasantly surprised. I've got to use them a lot, but this is a whole different vibe from what. And as you were tweaking, hearing it get brighter or more intense or more gooey or more low end as we drove things different ways was exactly what I was going for. So I was happy about that.
Yeah.
But that was one of the big things about it. I knew I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to do something a little different and take what we've hopefully done with some of the other units a little further. And I wanted to add flexibility in the tone shaping. We were talking yesterday how useful it is just to have a thick button on a preamp or a bright button or a simple low cut. And I wanted to add all that stuff too. So it's got a bright, it's got a low cut. You can switch the impedance high and low like on the TG2. And you can switch it to balanced line as well. So if you want to use it for just sticking your mix through to color or a stereo source of some sort. When you're mixing, if you want to just color a bass track or something and drive it, and
we put the kick drum through it like that
as
well.
Yeah,
and it changed the tonality, and because we were clipping the
front
end of it.
We had a really heavy hitter yesterday, so we flipped it to line and then drove the preamp a little harder and had a pretty good result from it. So the good thing about this, as compared to the Germ, is it does have an output control, so you can drive the gain and the feedback at the same time and use the output control to back it off. The Germanium doesn't do that because it's a single amplifier. So the only way to put an output control on it is at the very end of the circuit, like you may have seen on an old piece of 2 gear or something similar to that. So I was happy I was able to put the output control in there like it would have been on an EF module or
like just a fader, like a console fader.
Yeah, or like I've done on the TGs. So you can drive the circuit hard and still back it down a little easier than the Germ does.
Right.